right, guys, this is your new moon report. I'm going to go straight into it. I have a channeled message from the gardeners today that's very important that I get out. And this is attached to the new moon in Sagittarius today. Uh, this is a very important integration, so please listen up carefully. If you're here, I'm Candace with Lightworker Radio. The gardeners are the seeders, and this is attached to creation, manifestation, everything that comes to earth that we bring to earth. It's all about that. And it's about like where we are in time right now. So I'm just going to start off. Okay. So the weather for the day is connected to each of us. And so this is how the download started because today in Michigan, it was like 50 degrees yesterday. And today it's like 10 degrees and it's cold and it's windy as hell and it's blustery. It's just kind of gross out there and really icy. And there's snow falling down right now. And there's something to the idea that the wind carries messages better. The frigid air, the extreme and hot and cold is potential energy that is more electrifying. The winter season is all about the roots and the foundations of what we bring to earth, working on those roots, deepening and thickening. While in winter, where I am in Detroit, we have it's cold, right? And we have the literal way that the plants are moving and allowing the wind to whip through them is all things you should pay attention to. And it's going to be very unique to your life why this is important. But if you start connecting to the weather and then embrace that day, you will be aligned with it in all the ways you need to. And I do have something at the end with all the seasons and what they can help you do. But let's go through this first. New ideas are the heart of creation. Everything is a grand creation. It's a grand collaboration. It's not all about us. Each layer is playing in the field. Our role is to capture or align with potential energy and bring heaven to earth. So, this again, like I've been getting these messages for a couple of days, and this is the message. The weather message was the morning message, but let's talk about yesterday. I listened to the telepathy tapes, and they had something on there because I saw they said like creation doesn't belong to us. And I'm like, this is what I've been studying, and I've been working on this with a book about the menstrual cycle. So these downloads have been coming to me. So I listened to it and it was exactly what I needed to hear to like solidify my message. And one of the things she brought up was the idea of the word genius and what it originally means. Okay. So genius before the Renaissance period, before this new introduction of art, when European standards were the norm of the way that they was rocking back in the day. You know what I mean? White people was white people. They took over the word genius. And prior to that, in even the Roman times, the Arabs, every culture knew this. Genius came from genie. And to be a genius wasn't to be a genius, it was to have a genius presence or spirit around you, inspiring you. And that genius presence or spirit is what allowed creation to move through you. It fed you information. Okay. Now, prior to modern era where people move houses a lot, before you used to have the house of your ancestors. And in the house of your ancestors, that's where the genius lived, like on the land. And genius, genie, right? Jinn, that is where the word originally came from. It was this, everyone agreed that there was this spirit that lived in your family and was technically like the feeder of knowledge. Now, some of them might be tricksters, some of them might be other things, but this is they said it was connected to, like, for instance, if there's a family with a lot of writers, then that genius in the house is attached to writing. And if there's a family with a lot of musicians, then that genius is obviously attached to music and how they help seed and feed you the information for creation. And that really stuck with me because I've been talking a lot about how these ideas do not belong to us. They are conscious and they actually came from somewhere else. And that's what we're going to get into. So when I say ideas, I mean family units, friendships, businesses, children, all things that organize in a pattern on earth, okay? All systems. And right now, as above, so below, right? But we have subverted these systems, and I'll get into that, but let's keep going. in a very defined manner, which is why we only experience Roy G. B. Viv, the rainbow, the spectrum, the 1% light that comes through us, that filters through us. It's because we are taking, like, okay, so I want you to think of energy. If you were not in a physical body, you would have access to all the potential energy around you at once, okay? Completely attuned with it, knowing how to read that signal. When we came to Earth, we decided we would take a smaller sliver of that energy and that energetic potential, let's say. And if you imagine something going through it and cleaning larger energy, we filter through very individual components of a larger energy, one at a time. Okay. When I say one, there's no time, but like we take the smallest parts and try to clean them up, or we take the smallest parts and use them in our experience, I'll say. Okay. So because we are refining, retuning, realigning this very specific energy, Earth does this way, by the way. Um, it locks in a memory. So this is happening to Earth, which is why it's happening to us. It's almost like Earth takes this energy in small forms, and because she is a memory holder, each piece of memory is like a blueprint or an experience we latch onto, and she holds the template of the pattern of that experience. And there's more to that, but just imagine it gets locked into this space, and that is like a definition of that experience that is fed back to us. Okay, so she's locking in the memory of the experience of that energy from all perspectives. It's like an energy blueprint or grid. Okay, so scientists have been talking about this, and again, I saw this in the podcast. And this was they did a so the first time they did this was with the, I think you've heard of like the monkey effects. It was like these scientists were feeding these monkeys, and they were throwing fruit on this island, and the monkeys would come and get the fruit, but the island was full of sand, so they started washing this fruit. And then over time, scientists started noticing that other monkeys were washing their fruit, and it was like this initial set of monkeys were doing it first. They've done this experience with rats. So if you take a set of rats and you take it and you try to teach it how to, like, let's say, balance a ball on his nose. Okay. That first time that rat has to learn how to balance that ball on their nose is going to be really hard. Okay. There's a lot of training that's involved. It could take months, it could take much longer. But when the rats learn it, it's like a connective field of rats. Every other rat that wants to know how to do this will be able to do it better. And so, what they're saying is happening is like as we go through experience, when we achieve it or conquer it, the experience blueprint, it enlarges, okay? And our ceiling becomes the floor for other individuals to then go through that same experience and have the same success or failure that we had. It's creating better patterns, okay? And it's like the initial person has to carve that pattern. It's a lot of effort at first, but everyone that comes behind that initial person, it's easier for them and becomes a momentum. And it's got a lot to do with resonance, okay? And so collectively, we contribute to this experience, those who lock onto that resonance of that specific experience, while individually we learn from it, add to it. So it's like we're building it and experiencing it at the same time and riding the wave of the collective while riding the wave of the individual. See, but this is the point of the entire experience because the idea does not belong to us. The experience does. All right. There is an organizing pattern to creation, and we stop poisoning this. And when we stop poisoning the seed and plant purely, we uplift creation. So everything here has an organizing pattern that was set outside of us. They had a plan for this place. If you just look at the food and the water systems on the planet right now, it gives you a good idea of how the water has been polluted or poisoned in the larger experience. That's our mirror, okay? um and how we don't we've tainted the information for our own nourishment. So the water is not good and the food is not good. So imagine everything that you're taking in is like a bit tainted, okay? And so even the ideas that are coming in are just like this because they're like water. They're it's information flowing. So and and because it's tainted, it's not necessarily always growing as well as it could. It's like a garden with bad soil. All ideas are the seeds. We are the gardeners. This is the gardeners who I was speaking to. The seeds are first grown here from a larger plant and then passed on to you, passed into circulation, the circulation system, into the grid, into the ley lines of earth. And from this place, you, the gardener or the tender, are to take it and build the physical version of it on earth. But the system on earth has been tainted from the moment it gets into the circulation system. Not all seeds, but some seeds, based on how we use them, we might have to clean them up and like bring them in more purely. So it's because of the subversion of women and because we are the blueprint of creation through our menstruation cycle. And I'm going to be talking about that soon. But also the concept of slavery, this idea that you're working on something that's not yours. They put slavery into subvert the idea of being able to work on a larger dream outside of yourself because instead they made it so that they took advantage of another person. So, because of that, we have a collective fear of even giving over our ego or our power to this idea that this creation doesn't belong to us. And when we remember that we're aligning with and partnering with something, we now work in a team. You use all the momentum, but when you're trying to do something yourself, it's like you bring in the, and this podcast said this, you bring in the discipline, they bring in the idea or like the idea about it. You do the, if it was a house, it's like all of the blueprint template for the house came from something else. You can decide if the walls are going to be drywall or cement or stone, if the floors are going to be pink, blue, or purple. And, like those are the parts that you are in charge of. It's like actual building on earth. And because they've subverted our system, it now seems, I was like, hold on, this sounds like slavery. And they were like, calm down. Okay. Because when we all do it together, it's incredibly beautiful. This is what they mean by a unified system. Just like we're not the only ones going through an ascension, they are, and we're all moving up together. We all need each other. And what is happening as we go through this death period, which I talked about in the last podcast or and YouTube, you can find it here for the new moon report for the week. These gardeners are getting closer to us because once we recognize that these ideas are conscious and they don't belong to us, you got to go to the gardener to know how to tend to the fruit. Okay. So, because this seed is immediately vulnerable to tampering with, some areas aren't, because some areas are infested and cause blight, subversion, all kind of things. The strongest survive, and they say that we've been sending in strong seeds. The individual, based on their condition, their resonance, through the sensation of desire, is attracted or pulled to that seed and then can choose to plant it on earth. But again, the seed came from another plant. So some of us have a pomegranate seed and we have been treating it like a broccoli plant because you left out the consciousness of the seed in your assessment. It's not in your build. So you forgot, like on some level, because of that, we are here to remind you because it's time to be reminded of what we're doing so that they're saying so that we can collaborate more effectively. And when you remember the seed is conscious, it's a plant or a baby or a business or a friendship or a marriage or a house or all of the ideas, and that it was gifted to you. You like there's a pride in being this gardener, but you get to ask. It's like if somebody gave you a seed and was like here, and you was like, well, what is this? What am I supposed to do? Is it need sun? Does it need to be dark first? Does it need to be watered right away? How do I germinate this seed properly? How do I raise this plant? What's the conditions that the plant is going to grow in? How do I know how to do this? This is what they're saying. They're like, bring us in, we know how to do this. It came from our tree, which came from our tree, which came from our tree. And even in the ovum, when you have like these little, the ovaries, like when you have the ovum, that seed came from another plant. Okay. So you need to decode how the seed dispenses. And the weather helps with this. So, like, here's what part there's roles for each of us. It's a divine collaboration, a celebration of bringing heaven to earth, not a grudge, not a judgment, not slavery. It's a fully supportive, integrative, fulfilling, abundant experience. You don't even have to you don't even market like the thing. The marketing happens from the weather. Okay. So it's like this channel of this seed comes down, it goes into circulation, you attract to it, desire that feeling you have that you're longing for something, or this idea comes in, you're excited about it. That's how you know the seed is present in your reality. When you get that packet, this is the information that is in there. The idea is in there. The timing is in there. It's a portal, a window that brought it in. There's portals and windows for it to grow. The nourishment that is necessary is in there. The need is in there. So it serves on earth already or wouldn't be here. The customer is in there. The use is in there. Okay. What you do, this is why your resonance is so important, because all of your lifetimes hold a resonance of knowledge. And based on your roles in many lifetimes, you collect these experiences or you borrow from this blueprint of experience already. You don't have to go through the experience. You can take an experience and put it in your memory so that you can go through learning more about it. So for each lifetime, you do this. When you work on coming, when you work to come to this reality, you defined a role for yourself based on your previous resume of experience. What seeds you want to plant are a part of that contract that you negotiate, and you partnered with these gardeners before you came here and said, okay, I really like this seed. I really want to work with this fruit, this fruit, this fruit, this fruit, and bring this part to earth. And I'm doing this because in my last lifetime, I did this. And in my last lifetime, I did that. So you came with more experience than you recognize, and all you have to do is unlock the seeds that you partnered with already, and then you said, I'm gonna bring those to earth and I'm gonna build it. So imagine for a second that if our job is creator and we were given the job of literally bringing heaven to earth, how much more pride can you put into everything that you do when you recognize that you are here as a template bringer for something else, right? And how can you think about it differently? um So it's based on potential, it's based on your vision, your history, the themes that you are best attracted to, and what seeds are required for that theme. Desires are opportunities for your seeds, but some seeds. So let's get further into what a seed is. A seed is not always a new business or baby or husband or friend, right? Sometimes a seed is nourishment. Sometimes it's a new idea. Sometimes it's fertilizer. Sometimes it's water. There are other things that are coming from the cosmos to help nourish this seed. But also the weather, the water, the wind, the snow, all of that, the sun help grow this seed. And you might have a winter plant versus a summer plant versus a fall plant versus a spring plant. Okay. Okay. Now, what do you do with the seed once you get it? When you get the idea, some seeds are to be captured, and all the seeds you got to plant them, right? Planting them is saying, this is now, I'm taking ownership of this idea. I'm going to do something to claim this. And it could be writing it down, it could be looking for investors, it could be creating a business plan, it could be building a website, it could be starting a fertility plan, it could be working on yourself to get married, whatever that might be. All right. Once these plants are growing, some of these plants are not the business, let's say. You are meant to take the seeds and plant them, and then the next three versions, which might be stronger than the first version, that one might be the real big deal. Okay. So you give you a perfect example. For a minute, I worked at an apothecary in beauty just because I moved back to Detroit and I couldn't get a job. And I happened, like, I applied online to be a shop girl. And she was like, your resume is insane. I need you to build my website. And I was like, I just, you undervalue yourself. So I come in, I built the website. I'm working with all of these independent beauty brands. I had no desire at that point. I was making skincare back in New York, but I didn't think this was going to be what I did. I then go into consulting post this. All right. So the first seed was the apothecary. The second seed was like I grafted from this and I realized that I had something I could do with this. I planted that seed. I built a consulting business. I took the seeds from that. One of them became Luluti Skincare, my skincare company. Uh, that grew, thought that was the seed. That wasn't the seed. The fruit from that put me back into consulting for skincare and writing a course. Okay. So like that seed. Uh it also there were so many seeds of like being a formulator because I like that more even than just making, right? That seed. The seed of using it when I go out to do spiritual workshops, I can bring my skincare, that seed. So some things are seeds that you need to be planting and to pull the seeds from to make more fruit to strengthen the foundation of the garden. Some things are you need to graft and put two things together. Again, spiritual and skincare are back together. I had them apart, I had them together, I had them apart, I'm putting them back together again. Some things are you graft onto, and some will go out with the wind to get to other gardens. Okay. So that could be me taking my skincare and putting it in an apothecary in another state. Then there's a seed there that is then coming into a plant and then blowing all over that area. Or in the winter, my roots and my foundations are growing. That's like, building structure in my business, working on business and paperwork and taxes and all of the things that I do there. Each of these seasons have a reasons. Okay. Your customers are naturally attracted to your flower or your fruit. Those are the pollinators, right? So again, when you do the work in the right way and the idea comes to you, the thing comes to you too. All of those parts of the attraction, those are not your parts. When the idea came in, it was a need in the community. Simultaneously, they come in the same packet. All right. So someone else needed it, someone else had to do it, someone else is going to do the next part. There are multiple players in the game, and your customers or your clients or the child or the husband are also players in the game that deserve respect because they may have had a meeting with you on the other side and said, okay, I'm going to support this business and you're going to get me skincare because it's going to have an activation in it that is going to help me when I get to this meeting and someone's going to smell it and they don't even know why, but there's something subconsciously in them and they're going to do this and it could be a domino effect that you're outside of. Okay. But it also could be something else. And this is why it's so important to release those expectations because you do not know what the seed is for. You will know more when we make more connection and as they come closer. Okay, so the wind carries the seed to individuals as well, and it latches onto their coats. Just like a seed can become invasive in some area, think about how it gets there. It could have latched onto a coat, it could be in somebody's pocket, and then it subconsciously like gets out to other things. It's crazy to think about it like this, but it's like a virus. Okay. So imagine someone comes in contact with your brand, they go somewhere, and I'm not even talking about having my skincare in their pocket when they leave. They've used it. My hair was wet. So it's in the blueprint already. So it's in them. Okay. So then they come in contact with someone and then it's in them. And it might not even unlock to the 10th someone, but something could happen from that experience. Okay. Timing is sacred and involved. Portals open and close. Cycles begin and end. Astrology is the mirror of the experience. Data from the okay. So as we capture these seeds and grow these ideas on Earth, there's something to do with astrology where the data that we gather from our experience goes back into the field of the natal chart of the astrology for the entire collective. So it's like astrology grows with us. Okay. And each idea has a natal chart. Your family has a natal, like I have a natal chart for my husband, for my kids, practically have them for some of my pets. Everything I have them for my business, especially, and I can teach you guys how to do these. I'm doing a presentation next year called All in the Family, and how I teach you how to read your kids' charts and your relationship charts and all of that. Um, so stay tuned for that, please. So here's the thing. So all ideas have a natal chart. And that is how you can track and align with what's supposed to happen in your business or what's supposed to happen in your marriage. And then you will see that, like, when you're going through something rough, oh, I'm going through something rough in this area. I can see how I can get the best use out of this current fruit that I have. It's all about like too when we're using something. or when we're creating something, we aren't pulling enough information on it. It's like we have this apple tree and we pulled 5 apples when there were 500. We're not taking all of the potential energy from the seed and the fruit and using it. Okay. When we use the fruit, they get a point, we get a point. Okay. When we capture from them and acknowledge the capture, that is their sign of evolution and success. When they are able to properly communicate with us and get this vision out, how the tree looks over there, if it looks over here, they gain a point. Okay. So they losing points just like we losing points. We all in this together. When we capture this idea and we work with this team, we get a point. So, and when you start working with them, then they can just keep sending, keep sending. Okay. When they know that you're acknowledging their presence, they can really get into the nitty gritty. I have the podcast attached so that you can listen to it from the telepathy tapes so that you can really get into this idea. I have more to say about this idea later, but thank you for listening to me today. I hope you have a fabulous new moon. Please focus in on this heart desire, these ideas that you have for the future. You treasure them right now in your heart, okay? And while you are treasuring them in your heart, when you recognize you're not the only one holding that treasure, and you don't have to carry it by yourself, that there is support there for you, you're going to move different. And that is why I think it's very important that we get this message in Sagittarius season, and right at the precipice of the solstice, so that as we make this new transfer, we can begin this new divine collaboration with our teams in a more effective manner, so that we can bring back the proper blueprint grid expression on earth for the new earth. Remember it, we're the ones building it because we're the creators. They're sending in the ideas, we are the builders. All right, we are the creators. So create, 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 paint, write, draw, sing, dance, design, file, organize, do all of it. Every single season I go through and I clean my house like a crazy person. I get into all the cracks and the nooks. I wipe down the doors. I take frankincense, and this season I'm doing frankincense and myrrh and baking soda. Sprinkle it on all cloth that I can't wash. Vacuum it up. I put essential oils, and just treat the mop water like it's cleansing out all the energy and really prepping for the new season. Fall and winter is about the roots. It's all about the growth that is foundational and getting your house in order. It's all about allowing yourself to be more still and rest and nourish. Spring is all up because you need that energy to shoot through the ground in spring. You need that energy to come up. And then summer is all about, spring is about getting the energy up. Once you get out of the ground, it becomes a little bit still again because now roots get involved again. That water goes down to the roots. It's warmer down there. New ideas are germinating. New things are happening. By summertime, you've got all of the energy that you need to push through and shine. And you could be in the opposite season, but I'm coming from this perspective to just give you an idea. This would be the season to be at your peak in your personal life. So if you were trying to date, you'd be out. If you were trying to boost your business, you'd be out talking people, right? Or you'd be on the internet more. You'd be doing more things to be seen. Fall is about releasing again and shedding and decomposing and letting go what didn't work so that you leave space for winter to tell you what you still need. All right. So we are working with seasons now. And the seasons don't mean the dates. I'll be honest with you. Watch the seasons. This is your time now. This is your time. This is the time that we are in. So pay attention to every single season and move with the weather of the day. When it's warmer, you're going to feel different than when it's bitterly cold, and see what that day is trying to tell you in your life. All right. That is all that I have. This is Candace with Lightworker Radio signing